YouTubers, this is Aisha, and this is going to be my top 5 Wednesday. This is an oldie that I'm doing because I started after this. So, this is a topic that I really wanted to do. So let's get started. My number 5 is Morgan Tallchief. I read this book in high school, and during college I kept remembering it. I just didn't remember the name or the author, and I googled it to find it, and did a lot of hunting. It took me about a year to find it. I absolutely love this book. Really enjoy it. It features a Native American um, character of color, um, although I will say it's more contemporary than it looks. He is just some sauce. This is actually him right here. This is supposed to be one of the pictures he paints. He's a painter, and he loved this girl Kathleen in high school, and a tragic event happens when he was going to ask her to marry him, and he is left devastated years later. And it's about 10 or 20 years later, and life has progressed, and he's moved forward when the woman he thought was dead comes back into his life. Dun dun dun. That's not a spoiler. It's on the back of the book. And I really enjoyed the story. I mean, I hunted for this baby for a year because I couldn't remember who it was, and I had borrowed it from the library in New York when I lived in New York, and then when I moved to Connecticut, I couldn't remember the title. So yeah, one of my all-time favorite guys. Morgan is just amazing to read. Dinah McCall writes such wonderful characters, and this is one of my favorite ones by her. And you've probably seen this book on one of my other lists, and this is my number 4, Two Guys. There's two guys in this one, and this features Mac and Jethro. And yeah, this is Forbidden Pleasure by Lorelei, which is part of the Bound Hearts series, and this is book 8 or 9 in the Bound Hearts series, and I'll leave a link down below to describe all the books. You don't have to read the books in order, but the first 7 books kind of give a foundation of what the club is about, and this is a book that features BDSM and Menage, and I love it. It's very beautiful, well written, nuanced. It features romantic suspense. It's got erotica, and it's got romance, and just, I love it. Love it. Lorelei writes wonderfully, and I've been reading her since the very beginning of the Bound Heart series, so I love this book. My third guy is Rome from the Marksman series by Jay Crownover, and this is book 3 in the series. I have this as an ebook and now as a physical copy. I absolutely love this book. I love Rome. I think it's because he's a military guy. I love military men. And really enjoy this one. Rome is Rule's brother. He's an archer boy, and he has come home from the military. He has served his time. He is now home, and he's having difficulty coming back into civilian life, because civilian life is not as fancy and sweet as it sounds. It's actually kind of shit. And he is going up against our little pixie from the Marksman tattoo shop, and she gives him no quarter, and he takes no shit from her, and the two of them go at each other, and it's a wonderful opposites attract. I almost cried reading this book because Jay almost broke my heart. Almost at the end, some really serious shit happens, and I had to stop reading, put the book down, and was like, no, like, no. If you go to my Goodreads review, in the comments as I'm reading, you'll see where I freak out. I love this series. I absolutely love Nash, and I love Rule. But Rome owns my heart from that series. Like, owns it. My number 2 spot is Shared. And these are just amazing. They are shared by Gideon Cross and Nathaniel West from the Submissive Trilogy and the Crossfire series. Crossfire series by Sylvia Day, and Submissive Trilogy by Tara Sumi. Now, the Submissive Trilogy is a BDSM erotica with romance, and this is more a romance, contemporary romance with a slight hint of BDSM. I just love these series, and I really, really love these men. And just, I read this entire trilogy in 3 days, and I read this um, as soon as I got my hands on them. Like, I read The Submissive in a day, I read The Dominant in 2 days, and I read um, The Training in 1 day. Love the series. I couldn't pick just one guy for number one, so I'm going to have a 1.7, a 1.5, and then my all-around absolute favorite guy for number one. So my 1.7 is the true legit ace. In Crossfire series, she calls him Ace, and she starts talking about this book and, well, this series, although she never calls it out by name, but she dedicates the book to J.D. Robb. So this is Rourke, and Rourke is kick-ass. Rourke is badass. Rourke is from the future. Rourke is married to a cop. I might have to kill Eve and take Rourke for myself. I absolutely love Rourke. Oh my god. He is so sexy. So sexy. And he's intelligent. And he's badass. And he's a former street kid. And now he's a multi-gazillionaire. And he owns almost half the world and a couple of planets. And off-planet cruise ships and stuff, vacation spots. He owns a lot and he loves his wife desperately. I seriously enjoy the series. I have moments where I hate the book. But I will hate some books and I will love other books. Um, I was having an issue with character growth and she really started to address it. This is book, I think, 30 something, but in the timeline, their timeline, it's only been 2 years. So I've been expecting more because it's book 30, so you expected a lot more years, because it's been years since she started the series, but it's only been 2.5 years in the storyline. So I've been frustrated with the character only to realize it's only been 2 years. Shit can't change in 2 years. Like, not like that. Not her deep issues. So now that I know it's only been 2 years, I need to slow down, calm down, and be nicer to her. I've been a little calmer. I've been loving the series more since. So this is one of the few that I have not read. This is one of the latest ones. There's like 3 books that I've not read, and they're all 3 of the latest ones. This one, Thankless, and Concealed. Um, and those are the last 3 that were published. And I cannot wait to get to this. I love J.D. Robb's writing. J.D. Robb, if you didn't know, is actually Nora Roberts, and I love her writing. So yeah, this is 1.7, and that's Rourke. 5 is going to be Diaz from Cry No More by Linda Howard. Oh my gosh, I love me some Diaz. And as his name suggests, he is of Latin origin. And he is actually Mexican, Mexican, half white. And he's got a complicated life. Diaz is a hot badass Mexican who your mama warns you about. She tells you to stay away from bad boys. She was talking about him. Diaz is the kind of guy he has a reputation and everyone fears the reputation, but no one knows the guy beneath the reputation. And our female character gets to know the guy beneath the reputation. And he just goes hard body for her. I love Diaz. I mean, Diaz is that bad boy your mama warns you about. The one she says is no good for you. Diaz is a criminal's worst nightmare. He makes criminals tremble in fear. He has a well-deserved and well-earned reputation of being a badass. And I just love him so much in this because he's very sarcastic, he's very witty, he's very in your face, and he gets into our female protagonist's face and lets her know, like, she may have run past everyone else with her sweet little innocent look, but he's not here for the bullshit. And he challenges her, she challenges him. The two of them go head to head a lot, but at the same time, when push comes to shove, Diaz is the guy you want in your corner, like, all the time. And when he loves fiercely, and it's just amazing. I love Linda Howard, and I love me some Diaz. So after meeting Diaz, we're going to meet number one, my absolute favorite male protagonist of all time. And this will be, no matter what else I've read, like my number two and three and four and five will change consistently and constantly and probably, like the wind blows. But my number one, he'll never change. And being my number one is in all of this. It is Carlos Rivera from the Vampire Huntress series by L.A. Banks. I love Carlos in these books. Another one of my favorites. Carlos is just amazing. Carlos, he's complicated. Carlos, if you want to pick Carlos out, first of all, he's going to be Latin, of course. He's Rivera. He's Mexican. He's 6 foot tall. He's beautiful, black hair, nice brown skin. He's from California. He's got swag for days. You're going to mix Damien from Vampire Hunter, the Vampire Diaries. You're going to mix Klaus and Elijah and Alcide from True Blood, and give him the ruthlessness of Klaus, Elijah, Damon, and Eric, and put that all together. Give him swag. Give him the Kanye, the Kanye confidence, the Jay-Z swag, and you will have your Carlos Rivera. There's a couple of things missing to make Carlos Rivera. I can't describe Carlos. You have to read and understand Carlos. Carlos is so badass. Carlos starts out as being that young boy that everyone falls in love with on the playground, and then shit happens, and Carlos does what he has to do, and he's a bad guy for a while, and he earns a really big reputation as being a bad guy, and then he re-meets Damali, and she puts her foot down, and she makes him change, and he wants to change. That's the difference. You can't make a man change. You can't make anybody change. Let's be real. You can't make anybody change unless they want to change. And she puts her foot down and sets the bar, and Carlos looks at that bar, and he said, well, you got to move it up here because I'm better than what you thought you were looking for. Carlos got swag for days. I love Carlos Rivera. Like, if Carlos Rivera existed in real life, I'd be terrified, because Carlos Rivera in real life means everything that's happening in these books exists. But he is my number one absolute favorite male protagonist of all time. And I think that will never change. I've met some really good characters and I love them all, but my number one male protagonist will always be Carlos. Always. Read it. You'll love him too. So I've seen just about everyone's top 5 male protagonists. Why don't you go ahead and share if you have some more that you've read recently down in the comments. I'll leave links to all these books and my reviews if I have them in the down bar, as well as to all my social media sites. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye.